A couple of years ago, I did a survey at a prestigious European company. They have about 1,000 people in direct material procurement, and the education level is far above average. And this is even more true at the executive ranks, where you find many engineers, physics graduates, and a good share with doctorate degrees. Yet when I asked how they perceived the role, the answers were striking. Most saw themselves primarily as fulfilling goals set by other functions rather than shaping the business in an entrepreneurial way. That mindset was also noticed by the Chief Procurement Officer, a manufacturing expert who was relatively new to procurement. In our conversations, two issues stood out. The first was internal to procurement. Coming from the factory floor, what puzzled him was the absence of clear, universally applied standards. In manufacturing, best practices are well defined and deeply ingrained. For example, the Toyota production system, or TPS, is a set of principles and methods developed over decades to maximize quality, minimize waste, and continually improve processes. It covers everything from standardized work sequences to visual management tools and problem-solving methods. These standards are so well established that any experienced production manager can walk into a plant and know exactly how the line should be running. In procurement, by contrast, he found no such common playbook. Each of the 60 teams in direct material procurement had its own way of working, its own school of thought. There was no shared baseline for how to approach sourcing events, supplier negotiations, or cost analysis. Recognizing this, he decided to put a lot of emphasis on defining best practices for procurement, the kind of clarity and consistency that manufacturing had achieved decades earlier. This was a few years before the rise of large language models, so much of the work had to be done through more traditional means: workshops, templates, process mapping. But with AI tools available today, this push for standards has accelerated dramatically. Procurement is now building a knowledge base and methodology that every team can access, adapt, and improve over time. The second issue was about guardrails. Procurement was working under many guardrails set by other functions. One example was SOP, the start of production for a new product. It was a sacred date and could not be moved. Perfectly reasonable. Production schedules, supplier tooling, and logistics are all aligned to that date, and any change can disrupt the entire supply chain. But procurement had not set any equivalent guardrails for the other functions. The result was that design changes could be made late in the process. Suppliers could be nominated without early procurement input, and cost targets could shift mid-project, creating enormous pressure and forcing last-minute firefighting. We sat down with the CPO and his peers to change that. We identified the biggest friction points, making life difficult for procurement and in turn for manufacturing. Then we agreed on procurement guardrails for other functions. For example, minimum lead times for supplier nominations to ensure manufacturing process validation, mandatory procurement involvement in defining critical specifications, so manufacturability and cost were addressed upfront, and early evaluation of supplier innovations so that they could be included before production committed to tooling. This was not a revolution overnight. It was a gradual process, but step by step the environment shifted. Guardrails became mutual. Friction decreased. Procurement leaders began to feel and act more like entrepreneurs. And because they now had more freedom to invest their time and resources in the right areas, the function's strategic impact grew year after year. When I think about this journey, I'm reminded of a framework from my book Profit from the Source, published by Harvard Business Review Press, called What Good Looks Like in Procurement. It has two dimensions: focus, from pure cost reduction to profitable growth, and mandate, from supporting the corporate strategy to shaping it. At the very top right-hand corner of these charts are companies like Apple, where procurement not only shapes the corporate strategy, but drives profitable growth by ensuring the right product with the right innovation comes from the right supplier. Most traditional companies, including the one I worked with, start in the bottom left, focused on cost reduction and supporting the corporate strategy. Moving up and to the right starts with addressing exactly the kinds of issues we tackled here, setting clear internal standards and establishing guardrails that work in both directions. The journey at this client is still ongoing, but every year results improve, strategic impact increases, and procurement's role in shaping the function and influencing manufacturing outcomes gets stronger. So my question to you is, are you working with someone else's guardrails, or are you helping to set the rules of the game?